What the Buddha taught was that we've got it all wrong. We are deluded. We have misidentification. We misappropriate ideas and concepts for the actual visceral and real experience that arises to mind. But we don't see things for how they are. What is taught is that experience is pure and stainless. But that's really difficult for us to understand, because we perceive negativity, fear, anxiety, but also beauty, desire, those sort of things. The term in the Buddha Dharma is klesha. Literally, it means affliction. It's because we are afflicted by our negative emotions. And this is what causes us all our problems. They say you just need to see things for how they are. You just need to rest in naked awareness. But the problem is, the way things are is obscured to us. It's obscured by our identification. Good and bad, high and low, near and far. Now here's the problem. We need identification just to get by in the mundane world. We need to be wary of dangers. We need to know who our enemies are. So the question is, how do you achieve liberation from the mundane world? It's only possible once you give up any hope for lasting happiness in the mundane world. I know that's not easy. That's difficult. The problem is we don't have this inception moment. We don't have the impetus that will propel us to liberation. In fact, I'd have to say most people probably don't want liberation. They don't even like the idea of losing self. It is taught that this clinging to self is the very basis of our trouble. In the Hinayana or Theravadan tradition, they say enlightenment is like a candle being snuffed out. In fact, that's what this word nirvana means. It means to blow out the candle. I think for many people that's quite scary. So in some ways, then the teachings of the Mahayana are easier for us. And that's because in the Mahayana, what we do is we give up our self-concern and think only of the benefit of others. For us, that's doable. It's what is called provisional. It's not the ultimate truth. And the ultimate analysis, then sentient beings are illusory. They're not real. It's confusing, right? Because we say, well, how can I work for the benefit of beings if they don't exist? Well, what you have to understand is that this is not a nihilistic view. It does not deny the appearances to mind. It's not saying nothing exists. And you might ask, well, what is the ultimate analysis? How are things in reality? Well, the teachings that cover the ultimate truth of reality are called the teachings of signlessness. Those are the teachings associated with the third turning of the wheel of Dharma, and that are associated with the Vajrayana. Or you could say, the teachings on perfect purity, the perfectly pure and clear nature of all phenomena, that is, at its very foundation, non-referential compassion, or limitless love. Now that sounds really appealing to us. That's the kind of Dharma we want. But there's a problem. Because we don't see the world that way. We witness difficulties. We experience negativity. We are afflicted by our trauma, our jealousy, ego clinging. And so in order to progress on this sublime path, first we have to eradicate our afflictions, our negativities, and uncover this stainless jewel that is taught to be the mind, consciousness. And we know that this is difficult, it's not something easily achieved. But you mustn't give up hope. And there's another thing you should understand, is once you've started on the path of the Dharma, then really there's no turning back. And once you are on the path, then it's 100% certain that you're going to experience ups and downs, moments of elation, but also moments of intense pain and discomfort, mental discomfort. But there is no other way. Once you've started on this journey, then you just have to get to the end. And depending on your sincerity on the path, then you will experience intensity, highs and lows. What you have to understand is that this is a positive thing, it's not negative. It's merely because you're working on awareness and mindfulness. Your mind is gaining strength and acuity, that the intensity of the suffering in samsara becomes all the more obvious. I think I've talked about this before. There's 3 types of suffering. Well, there's this final type of suffering, the all-pervasive suffering of the composite. And it's taught that it is only bodhisattvas on the levels who experience this suffering, who see all phenomena of the mundane world to be the nature of suffering. The example is that if you have a hair in your hand, it causes you no suffering. But once that hair is placed in the eye, it is extremely unpleasant. And so it is for the bodhisattvas. They recognize the suffering of the mundane world, and because they recognize the intensity of the suffering in the mundane world, then their compassion blazes like a raging fire, their compassion for all immature sentient beings who are trapped in the ocean of suffering that is called samsara. And it is my sincere wish that you should achieve happiness and well-being, and also progress swiftly on the spiritual path until achieving final awakening and liberation from the mundane world. And until next time, then see you later.